Are we on the verge of total societal abundance, or are we literally just building smarter chatbots? Welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking a really fascinating A16Z conversation about AI's ultimate economic endgame. We are moving way past the stone ages of simple text prompts and stepping into an era that could completely redefine how we live, how we learn, and how we heal. Let's get right into it.
Our sources hit us with a profound question right out of the gate. As technology evolves at this crazy pace, is our human culture actually keeping up? I mean, it's super easy to look around and wonder, are we achieving true spiritual and intellectual growth alongside these tools, or are we kind of just Neanderthals walking around with iPhones? The core idea here is that technology, at its absolute best, should act as a mirror to help us understand ourselves better. But right now, there is this massive, glaring gap between the raw power of the tech being built and the general public's understanding of it. To capture that cultural whiplash we're all feeling, the speaker makes a brilliant comparison. They liken our current tech acceleration to hitting the highest simulation speed in the game SimCity. You remember that game, right? You press that fast-forward button, and suddenly the cars are zooming, the people are buzzing around, and events just fly by. Well, over the last 3 or 4 years in AI, someone essentially smashed that 100x speed button. I mean, things that happened literally a month ago feel like ancient history now. The world is moving ridiculously fast, and trying to keep up is leaving a lot of us feeling totally overwhelmed.
Section 1. Giving computers a personality. From delivery vehicles to the payload itself.
To really wrap our heads around how this breakneck speed turns into a wildly complex new frontier, we have to look at the shift in consumer tech. Think back to the Web 2.0 era. Founders like Kevin Rose with Dig, or the early days of Twitter. They were essentially architecting delivery vehicles. They built the roads and the networks for humans to broadcast messages to other humans. But today's AI developers, they're doing something entirely different. They are crafting the intellectual payload itself. If you told someone 10 years ago that we'd be literally coding personalities for computers, they'd have looked at you like you were crazy. But that upper echelon of human-like intelligence is exactly what is being engineered as we speak.
The sources draw this amazing parallel to legendary music producer Rick Rubin, and even the brevity of Shakespeare, emphasizing that premium AI models, like Anthropic's Claude, they feel different. Why? Because they possess a crafted soul that you can tangibly sense. It isn't just cold, robotic utilitarianism anymore. Just like art or music where you have to feel it to know it's really good, creating a compelling AI personality is becoming way more of an art than a science. When people talk to Claude, it feels artisanal. It feels like they are interacting with a crafted entity, rather than just pinging some distant server.
Section 2. The Ambient AI Future. Life beyond the Chatbox.
So the true vision here is AI anticipating your needs before you even realize you have them. It's about totally escaping that paradigm where the AI only talks to us through push notifications or a tiny chat box. Think back to early products like Google Now, which tried to guess what you were going to search for before you even typed it. Ambient AI is exactly that, but scaled up with true, deep intelligence. It'll be woven into the background of your home, your office, your operating systems. It acts as this ethereal entity just working silently behind the scenes to surface exactly what you need, right at the exact moment you need it.
Section 3. AI's public perception problem. The fear-driven development cycle.
But despite all this incredible ambient potential, we hit a massive brick wall when it comes to everyday people. Our sources point out a stark, crazy contrast. In China, AI is highly embraced, but over in the US, it is facing a massive popularity deficit. In fact, one study mentioned in the sources claims AI currently has a lower net promoter score than ICE. Yes, the Immigration Enforcement Agency. Why is that? Well, because we're stuck in a fear-driven development cycle. Out in Silicon Valley, everyone is thinking about growing the pie, right? It's a positive-sum game, but for everyday people, the world often feels like a ruthless competition for finite resources, and AI, it just looks like a massive threat to their slice of that pie.
Section 4. Deflating healthcare and education. Fixing the net promoter score of AI.
So how in the world do we win back public trust? We do it by fixing the glaring disconnect where technology pushes consumer electronics down to practically $0 while essential services become impossibly expensive. This reflects a famous concept often talked about by Mark Andreessen. Since 1970, things like flat-screen TVs have plummeted in price. Meanwhile, what happens to healthcare, education, and housing? They absolutely skyrocket. Our sources argue that AI's true moonshot shouldn't just be building cooler tech. It needs to be taking those skyrocketing columns and forcing actual deflation. We're not talking about just slowing down inflation. We mean making these vital services literally cheaper year over year.
Okay, get a load of this massive figure regarding our medical system, because this right here is where the opportunity for massive societal abundance truly lies. A staggering 45%. 45% of all healthcare costs are locked up in pure administration. We're talking about revenue cycle management, back office paperwork, endless routine phone calls. This is an absolutely prime target for AI models to tackle. It is no surprise at all that healthcare companies are currently some of the absolute largest consumers of major AI models. If AI can step in and automate that 45%, we can pull massive costs out of the entire system, making healthcare fundamentally cheaper for the average person.
And you know what? The exact math to fix education is just as beautifully simple. We don't even need to reinvent the wheel here. Step 1, we just use AI to roll back the explosion of administrative bloat to where those ratios were just 10 years ago. Step 2, give teachers and professors a modest AI productivity boost. Doing just those two things alone would trigger year-over-year deflation in college tuition. The crazy part, the technology to do this literally exists today. It is simply a matter of us making a different set of collective choices.
However, achieving this abundance is definitely not without its hurdles. When we neutrally observe regulatory moves, like New York State's recent push to ban AI from giving health or financial advice, we see a really complex tension. The instinct naturally is consumer protection. But our sources note that this kind of creates an own goal. Think about it. The wealthy already have their private doctors and their elite lawyers. Banning AI advice disproportionately hurts everyday consumers who could actually use these democratized tools to better their lives. It's super reminiscent of how Massachusetts famously tried to ban its residents from buying Apple stock back in the 80s because the government deemed it too speculative.
Section 5. Democratizing AI ownership. From hoarding to abundance.
To really achieve this abundance, we absolutely have to bridge the massive gap between tech insiders and everyday people. Just imagine the cultural shift if everyday citizens held equity stakes in the major AI labs. Our sources floated this fascinating idea. What if you could actually roll AI equity into the retirement accounts of normal, everyday citizens? It would completely, fundamentally transform our collective mindset. Instead of looking over at Silicon Valley and feeling resentment or this deep fear of being left behind, people would know that as AI succeeds, their families and their children's futures are financially secured. It flips a narrative of hoarding into a very real reality of shared abundance.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to wrap up our explainer. We have the technology right now to build a profoundly better world. To recap today's hard facts, we are moving 100x faster than ever before, a massive 45% of healthcare administration is ripe for deflation, and democratized AI equity is the path forward. Today's big takeaway is this. AI's true moonshot isn't just smarter chatbots, it's forcing systemic deflation on our highest costs of living. So what do you think? Is banning AI from giving medical and financial advice a necessary consumer protection, or is it a dangerous trap that hurts everyday people? Drop your hard take in the comments below, and while you're there, be sure to leave a comment to get the full mind map breakdown of today's explainer. Keep questioning, and we'll see you next time.